We can get amenities without paying for them.
Yes. Well, good morning, everybody. If you would, we'll say a pledge and a prayer, and we'll call the meeting to order here this morning. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning with humble hearts as we look to serve our constituents in our county. Dear Lord, give us wisdom and discernment in all our ways. We just thank you and we praise you for this opportunity to be able to serve and give back to our communities. Continue to use this in a way that will just glorify and honor you. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Good morning, everyone. It looks like we'll first looking item of business is for approval of claims and minutes. So moved.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, next on our agenda this morning, Circuit Superior Court, Judge Reed. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning, Judge.
Hey, so I was looking at this last November. I was here, asked for permission to apply for this court reform grant. It was $60,449. Last go-around, you gave me permission to do that. It was for a court check-in information system, basically TV monitors and then the software that supports that to for all the courts to have their cases up on the big screens to hopefully assist people get where they're supposed to go. And we didn't get approved for that from the state, but then in August we got approval, and it was for the $60,449. So much time had passed, we actually found another vendor. It's going to be cheaper. And so basically I'm back to ask you permission to do the same thing. It says $44,000, but I think I'd like up to $50,000. Marcia can maybe fill you in, but we were talking about mounting them on the walls and over there at the Justice Building, 2 on the top floor, 2 on the ground floor, but probably be in that granite area, I guess, and that's kind of ruined the walls. So she's talking about floor mounts, and then with the additional cabling stuff to get that done, it up to $50,000. The state's okay, anything up to the $60,000 that they gave us the approval for. So we do have to spend the money and then get reimbursed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's preferable to do the floor mounts just because of the locations, and it can be moved later then, but maintenance is looking at the electrical side of it. We may be able to do all of that in-house, but the data cables will need to be run, and IT is looking at having that done. So there would be some added expense as far as that, but hopefully it'll be minimal.
All that would be included in your.
So we get, and it was probably a good idea, we didn't think about everything, probably the floor mounts was better. So what we get is all the hardware, and then we get all the computer software support for 5 years. So we should be good for, theoretically 5 years with no additional expense. Not much out of our pocket at all.
But my question is, all the in-house expense you're talking would be included in your grant?
Well, that's why I want you to give me permission to go ahead and
more?
update the quote and get up to 50,000, which would take care of the additional
Okay,
stuff, we
I
think.
understand. Okay. I'm ready to make a
Okay.
motion. I make motion we accept this recommendation along with the in-house expenses of up to $50,000.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, I appreciate it. I think that'll help some people out. The public is going to like that. So
Thank
thanks,
you for your
guys.
efforts on that.
Yep, have a good day.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, Judge Keeler.
Morning.
Good morning.
Judge.
Thanks for letting me be here this morning. Every Wednesday, the Supreme Court sends out an email to all the judges. Last Wednesday, at around 8:48, I got an email indicating that there was an opportunity for the courts to apply for a family court project grant. And the deadline for that is November 10. Because of the short deadline, we had to fast track this, which is why I'm here today, so thanks for that. I've given you a copy of the printout that I obtained from the last judicial conference. On the bottom right-hand side, there's a gentleman's name, Joe Fisher. I've spoken to him. I inquired as to whether or not this grant could be used for the purposes of paying for GALs. A GAL is a guardian ad litem, similar to a CASA. They were attorneys who were appointed by the court to assist in mostly high conflict custody cases, parenting time cases involving families who do not have, in this case, families who do not have the funds to hire their own GAL. I'm requesting $72,000 because I've spoken to some attorneys here locally. I've spoken to Mr. Fisher downstate. I suggested to him that I thought a reasonable period of time to devote to a case would be 15 hours at an hourly rate of $200 is $3,000 per case. If we appointed 2 a month, that would be 24 a year. 24 times 3,000 is 72,000. Last year, and the reason I came up with two a month, I'm being conservative. As revealed in my grant application, I think you've got a copy. In 2021, in Superior 4, we had 166 pending DC cases, divorce with children, 1,511 pending JP cases. Those are children of parents who are not married, were not married. 1,677 cases. I appointed 4 GALs out of all those cases because only 4 families could afford it. In 2022, through the end of September, we had a total of 1,841 cases. I had appointed 6 GALs. So I've spoken to Mr. Fisher, said, could this money be used for that? He said, yes. That's why I'm here requesting that amount.
Well, you got a need and there's a remedy for it, so it's,
I guarantee you, if we don't apply, we get 0.
yeah.
We may get something,
Yeah.
and anything would be better.
Yeah,
So I'm asking
get it.
permission to apply.
Get an email. I'd make a motion if there's no more discussion.
I'm ready to
I
make
make
a
a
motion in a
motion,
second.
based on your analysis of your need, I make a motion we accept your ability to go for that GAL grant of $72,000.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Keep up the good work.
Okay, next on our agenda this morning, is there any office holder, department head bringing anything before the commissioners? Okay, hearing none. County Attorney, Ed?
No public report.
Thank you. County Administrator, Marcia?
Okay. Yes, I have a letter here. It's in support of the Syracuse-Wawasee Trail Committee's application for a K-21 grant. This would be part of their trail system, and I believe this would be the Wawasee South Trail that this letter is in support of.
Okay. Look for a motion for the support of that.
I would make the motion we support the request.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Next.
Okay, I have a memorandum of understanding with the City of Warsaw. This falls under the Public Safety Communications Project. This is for placing microwave equipment at the Warsaw radio tower, and this would support the county's 911 data link to from dispatch to the central tower site.
You guys have any questions on that? Look for a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next.
Okay. We have the annual interlocal agreement between the county and all of the outerlying police departments. This is for the terminal services data. This supports and allows them to have access to what our county sheriff's department has. So there is a fee attached to this. We increased it by 5%, but this is an annual renewal that falls between January 1 and December 31.
Make motion we accept the request.
Okay.
Second.
All those, motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. County Auditor, Michelle?
Yes.
morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Michelle.
I have a few things for you today. The first thing is the interlocal agreement between KCC, RVC, and Kosciusko County Government. This agreement allows the auditor to act as the controller and secretary for the KCCRVC, and the fee attached to that is $500 a year, and that is to reimburse the county for materials that we use for those services.
Okay. Appreciate, I know you've served them well out there, so.
Thank you.
You take it for a motion?
Make a
Yeah.
motion.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next.
The second point of business is the interlocal agreement with our solid waste management district. So since 2000, the county auditor has been controller for the solid waste district, and the fee attached to that is $6,000 a year. That allows us to do their payroll, their claims, their budgets, all interactions with the DLGF we're responsible for.
Okay.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And the last thing are the nonprofit agreements for 2023. So for these nonprofit agreements, we updated the amounts on these for what was approved at budget time.
Okay. Any questions on that, gentlemen? Look for a motion.
I'd make that motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion
Aye.
carries.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Michelle.
Michelle.
Okay, next. County Highway, Steve? Okay. Okay. Looks like we gotta wait just a few minutes here before our 9:15 so we can have a area plan here. So we'll pause here for just a few minutes.
You want me to go get your water for you, Marcia?
And you know what? I'm glad you reminded me.
I didn't want to waste a whole bottle of water. Did you go to the Leesburg last night? Did you? I was gonna go, but I got busy. Didn't get a chance. Did you guys go? What kind of a Q&A session, wasn't it?
Well, good morning, everybody. I've got 9:15, so we'll reconvene here and look for Matt and Sandy here to talk about a area plan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Those already, that's not a good start. We've got one rezoning recommendation to bring to you today, and we are on the north side of McKenna Road, southwest of Irish Lake. And triangle piece of property you see right there with blue slashes through it, currently zoned agricultural. Petition that came to the Planning Commission was to take it from agricultural, you'll see everything non-shaded there is currently agricultural, to residential. Looking to the, back to the west, you see residential there, along the channel, EMS lanes, some down to the southwest as well. So ultimately, they're wanting to go from residential, or from agricultural, I'm sorry, to residential. And we are looking at, I think this is about, 7.11 acres of ground. So ultimately, if zoned residential, they'll be coming back then, looking at development plans, nothing specific in mind at this point, but this is the first step towards that process. It is being passed on with a unanimous recommendation to rezone, so.
Is there, this map, does it show any of the wetlands? Is any of that?
It does not. There are some limiting factors. There's just a small bit of wetlands towards the north there. You've got some flood zone that runs along the channel. Soils are mixed batch through the whole thing. You know, that's all stuff that they will have to work around if is rezoned and if they look at developing it. Will be limiting factors on how much they can do out there, obviously.
It's currently not being farmed. Looks like it's kind of grown up in.
Correct.
brush.
It's not a productive field.
Okay. So, got anybody here to speak in favor of this petition this morning? Hearing none. Anybody speak against the petition this morning? If you would, come to the mic and state your name, please, and reason for your here. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Monona Harris, and we have the property that's, it would be on the right side of their property, facing north.
Okay.
So we have, so we have a big concern about runoff watershed, their watershed for one thing. And the number of houses, which I was surprised he said there's no future plans, because they stood in here and said they'd like to put 15 houses there. At the last meeting, they said that. So, of course, that's under you guys' jurisdiction, how many they'll be able to put on there. But that's one of my concerns.
Okay.
A big concern. And then the other thing is McKenna Road is one of the last roads, as I think you probably know, to be plowed in the wintertime. It's not a well-kept-up road, and we've had 2 accidents on that road that took lives already, and I'm a little concerned, well, more than a little concerned about the increase in traffic. So if you take 2 cars per house times 15 houses, if they were approved for that many, that's a lot more traffic, not to mention their visitors or whatever. So safety is something I've been a little concerned about too.
Okay.
But yeah, we have a long property line that would be right next to
Adjoining.
this. So
Okay.
that's one of my major concerns. And a great deal of our property back toward the back northern end of it there is wetlands. And we have part of it in a forestry program for the animals. And so I would like to see that continue for the benefit of the wildlife too. So that's something else. So I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, we sure appreciate you coming in and voicing your opinion this morning, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
interested in following this through too, just as an observer. You know, I'm kind of nervous right now, actually.
You're doing fine.
But I'm interested in following this through and seeing how many houses are approved. Because I do believe in people having a right to use their property as they deem fit. I'm a big believer in that. But I have reservations about what they have in mind. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else to speak against this petition this morning? Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Dennis Lindell, and I have a place right across from where this is taking place, you know. And I've been kind of watching the animals since 1976 when I built my place there. It's a wonderful place for the animals. But I know that for residential, the new owners have a right to, you know. What I'm concerned about is I didn't get a chance to call the DNR. I got their number. As to the spacing and the amount of piers, how many feet is on the channel?
You know, if this is to scale.
About 300 maybe, I guess.
Looking at the lots across the street, I mean, there's, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses on the other side of the channel.
Is that what they want to put, 5 houses?
Well, no, we don't, as all the commissioners are voting on this morning is whether or not to move this property from agricultural to residential. There's a
Oh.
whole nother process that'll happen for when they're ready to actually approve a plat as far as how the property we divided into lots. So
Okay.
this hearing is just about the changing of the zoning from one to the other. So
Yeah.
we don't have, all that information is not required for this meeting, but
Right.
that will be needed at the next meeting, so.
What would be your guess on the far north end? Could they build at the far north end, or would they have to come a little bit south to start?
I mean, with the information that's been given us at this point, we don't know what's wetlands, what's not wetlands. I mean, that's not on this map, so I mean, that's
Yeah.
really, we can't make that
Yeah.
determination at this time.
We're
but
mainly we just decide the highest and best use and, you know, which one is it? And the thing I'm struggling with is it's not good farmland because it's just too small to farm.
Yeah.
So that's the
It's
dilemma.
I know it's very valuable land because of the water rights that the people might have. You know, and that's the real alluring thing about this. What my concern is, if you guys know from past experience, you might know, the DNR, I'm sure they have laws on how close you can put piers, the spacing of piers. And I just wonder if that will be taken into consideration. Because when the owners are going to sell these lots and they're going to build, they're going to have some kind of guarantee that they're going to have a pier. Can they get, if they're going to build 15 houses, can we have 15 piers there? I hope not.
Matt, can you speak to the anti-funneling
Yeah, so,
that we passed a while back?
yeah, and I just did some quick math off the survey. There's about 536 foot of shoreline between the end of the channel to the point. Ultimately, piers are gonna be required based off of the DNR's requirements. I know they have specifics on terms of navigability of the channel, as well as riparian rights out from the property lines. It's nothing we get into specific, but they will have to address that. Our lake access ordinance, in talking about the number of homes, there's a number of factors that will have to come into play. Sewer is going to make this a lot more developable than ever would have been, because sewer does open up some ground. But they will have to have minimum lot sizes. They'll have
What
to
will
have
the lot sizes be, you think?
no
Your
clue.
guess.
I have no clue, and that's why, yes, they did mention homes at the beginning, but I think that was even a little premature, because before they look at, they're gonna have to install roads, they're gonna have to have drainage. There's setbacks, minimum lot size would be 10,000 square feet, so by the time you start taking a lot of that out, that starts really dwindling down the number of homes that could go in there.
What might be the width of the lots?
I'm not even gonna guess,
Okay.
because, again, they'll have to look at the soils. Those lots, they may have to have larger lots to accommodate the type of homes they want.
Yeah.
It's gonna be totally up to the ground, the market, the developer to look at. And a lot of those aspects are gonna be looked at through the development stage, if it's even rezoned. Limiting factors will be the flood zone, will be the wetlands, and there's a little bit of that there, so that will come into play as well. From that lake access ordinance, this property has quite a bit of lake frontage or channel frontage, so that doesn't really come into play.
It is
They
quite a
could
bit.
actually have more homes than really feasibly could ever allow on there from that standpoint. But the other limiting factors are the lot sizes, the setbacks,
Soil conditions.
soil conditions, roads,
When
drainage.
you say setback, you mean like setbacks from the
Minimum
shoreline?
They're gonna have to meet minimum setbacks, probably greater than your setbacks, because you're a legal non-conforming lot. They're gonna have to meet greater setbacks, because these are new lots.
I think ours was 35 when I built my
35 for
place.
water, but they're gonna have to be 10 from the sides, 25 from the right of way. Most of those homes on the other side of the channel, a lot closer than that, because they're older and pre-existing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 30-some homes just across the channel from where this development would be. So you got 30-some homes there now, closer together, closer to the water than any of these homes would ever be able to be. So there's more of an issue there now than there would be if they had, say, 10 or 12 homes, so.
I noticed that at the shoreline on the other side, it's a real steep drop off.
Sure.
Probably 70% of the shoreline is a real steep drop off. Will they be able to go in and cut all that out and make it more level towards the channel? Or,
It's whatever the developer decides is safe and he can sell lots for.
yeah,
That's something they decide. We don't have anything to do with that.
But anything that's the actual shoreline, that'll take all DNR permit from
Yeah.
a seawall or anything that's gonna touch the water or affect that lake shore. I mean, will be a DNR permit. So I mean, there's a lot of things here, and you all have valid concerns for sure, but, I'm not sure that this is the meeting from a perspective of, right now, we're just looking at the best use of this property from a zoning perspective. When they actually prepare a plat and do a design, I think that's when you guys will have another chance to rein in from a public input perspective on your concerns and help maybe steer how that property is actually developed.
now on the other plans, is there a date set for that yet? or
Not
no?
that we're aware of.
No.
We might have to call in and find out.
You'll be notified again. You'll go through the same process as what this was. It'll be a public meeting and notification to
Oh,
all the
okay.
neighboring property
Okay.
owners. Because this is just a meeting to identify what the property is going to be changed to from a zoning. Then there'll be actually a preliminary plat and then also a final plat. So there'll actually be two opportunities possibly.
There will be the preliminary plat's gonna be the key one, and they'll get, just like this hearing, there'll be notifications sent, same property owners are gonna receive notifications. That's when they'll get into the nuts and bolts of the design, and our guys are gonna start looking at those nuts and bolts. So that's more of the, I'm gonna say, the real plans that will be able to be reviewed. So yeah, you'll get notification that way.
Because again, we're getting down the road, like Matt's saying, but the decision we're charged with is looking at that piece of land, is that more suitable to have residential, or is it more suitable to plant crops or have livestock or something like that on it? That's all we're deciding today.
Yeah, we know it's not good farmland. It never has been.
Yeah, and that's
Very
our,
good with that.
Thank
will
you.
be our dilemma, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll know more later then, huh?
Yeah.
Will it be residential homes or will it be trailers or?
I mean, it's just,
That's all up in the air, and those would be things, again, could be discussed through their private restrictions.
but because I mean, if from a residential, I mean, it couldn't be a trailer park. That's a whole different
That
zoning.
takes a
So I
whole
mean, it's
different
it's
hearing,
gonna have to
yeah.
be residential somehow.
That's
Yeah.
the request today, is
Right.
residential.
Okay, thanks for hearing me
You're
out.
welcome.
No, thanks,
for
Dennis.
coming in.
Thank you for all you guys do.
You're
You do a
welcome.
great job.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak against? Yep, please come up, Mike. Okay. Could you state your name for the record, though, please?
Pardon?
Could you state your name for the record, please?
I'm sorry?
State your name for the record, if you could,
Oh,
please.
Cecilia Lindell.
Okay, thank you.
I don't even think there's, on our side of the channel, there is not even 15 homes, okay? Now, the channel is very narrow. And from what I understand, there are no more channels to be built in the state of Indiana. That is done, okay? Now, when we bought that property, Mr. Blue owned it, and the channel ended just a little bit past our house. But he bought that property, he built the house, and he had it dug out. Now, I don't know what happened, if he got fined or what, but this is all, So that said, it is a very narrow channel, okay? And we would be directly across from them building any kind of a house. Now, if he wants to do 15 houses, how on earth, the reason why people would want to be there is to be on the water, same as us, okay? So now he's going to have to go all the way back, how are these people gonna get to the water? Trespass across somebody's property? And this is all concern, you know, the noise and everything. And, okay, Mr. Blue, he bought that property, and it was like a nature preserve. Gert, which we both came from Munster, Indiana, he was the CEO of Inland Steel, okay? And they bought it in the 90s, and that's been like a nature preserve. He mows it and everything, they call it the meadow, you know? So, of course, I don't want anything there. But on the other hand, the man bought this property, and he has the right to do it. But my concern is, what are these people gonna do? How are they gonna get down to the lake? They're gonna trespass? You know, and are you gonna have a public thing and have all these people coming and going there? I mean, you know, what's gonna happen to the fishing and everything? Now, the animals, they're all gonna be gone, because now the houses are there, you know, and it's a nature preserve across. All that, 10 acres, is all natural, okay? So, yes, of course, you know, I mean, that's just my concern, but what I wanna know is, when you decide this, will we be notified of another meeting where we can come and find out?
Yes,
And how will
yes.
that be done, through a registered letter, or
Yeah, it'll be a
what?
registered letter, just like this meeting was.
I'm sorry to be crabbing,
Oh,
but, you know.
no, you're fine. No,
I
this
mean,
is what this process is
that really
about.
hurts me. 40-some years of beauty, that's why we bought it. That's why all the people bought it. There's not even 15 homes on the channel on our side. You know? So, I mean, he does have a right, but, you know, those are my concerns. I have no idea how, if he wants to build these houses, how way back, how they gonna get down to the channel? They're gonna, because it's real narrow there, and you couldn't do anything there, so you're gonna come across somebody's property? They're gonna build
They
their
wouldn't be
house?
allowed
That'll all
to do
be
that.
part of the next, the
You know, I'm
next
sorry to
agreement.
be, you know, complaining, but,
No, not at all.
you know, that's my concern, but.
Okay.
If I
thank
were in
you.
your shoes, I'd be doing the exact same thing, but like I said, our dilemma is
But
we just
I
have
know,
to
you
ask
know,
if it's farming
I
or
mean, life
or
goes on,
residential.
you know, everything changes, you know, nothing stays the same, so, but you asked if anybody contested it, so I just gave my opinion there.
Yep.
Thank you
No,
so
no,
much for your
thank you.
jobs and
Yep.
for listening to my complaining.
No, no problem. Appreciate you coming in this morning. Any,
Jackson, would you repeat what you said? She was still talking and then you said something.
Oh, I just said our decision today, and we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Our decision is, looking at that piece of land, is it better to be ag or is it better to be residential? What's the highest and best use for that land?
anybody else here to speak against the petition this morning? Okay. Anybody, I know that we had a few guys come in here since then.
He's a
Anybody to speak in
petitioner.
favor?
He's a petitioner.
Would you like to speak in favor? Anybody? Good morning. Please state your name for the record, if you could, please.
Kyle Coleman.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, for us right now, like, I know that at the last meeting, I feel like maybe we got ahead of ourselves in talking about what the use and what our planned use. I mean, ultimately, at this point, our goal is just to see what we can do with the property. As pretty much everybody has stated that currently the land is unusable for agricultural just because of how the property's set up, and portion being in flood zone and things like that. So our goal is just solely to get the property moved to residential and then work with the neighbors and to figure out a way and work with the county, the highway, to figure out a way that the property can be used to maximize. And, you know, answering any questions about the 15 homes or anything, that would be ahead of ourselves due to the fact that we don't know at this point what's going to be required. I know that I've done legwork, working with, talking with the highway and county on what is required, but ultimately, you know, for all those different things, that would be a little premature and figuring out exactly what we would be able to do.
Yeah. You just threw out that number 15 just as a hypothetical number.
That is correct. That was based off of what the surveyor had stated that would be a maximum amount on the property, and they stated even then that those would not all be waterfront properties. So not every property would be necessarily have water access. And, you know, from our research, like you stated, there are 30 homes across, and with the new minimum requirements for size of lots that are waterfront, we wouldn't be allowed to put that many now. You know, so I mean, and, you know, someone had asked about the quality of homes. I mean, we'd be willing to work with the neighbors and the community to figure out something that's appeasable to everybody to make sure that the type of homes and the community stays in its, current condition or improving the value of the neighborhoods. So, thank you.
Okay, appreciate you coming in. Okay, anyone like to speak in favor too?
Please. Hi, my name is Scott Saylor. I'm actually one of the partners
Okay.
that bought the land. So I just wanted to apologize first and foremost to all the neighbors. I think everyone showed up because of last time, because I kind of went over and introduced ourselves after we closed. And if I misspoke and told somebody an actual number, that's completely on me. I apologize. I was simply going over, handing out my cards, introducing ourselves to let them know who owns that land, what the plans are going to be, or at least what we plan on doing, or see what we can do. But yeah, at no time where I had no actual numbers. I was just kind of going by what we kind of got from the surveyor, but there was no actual information available at that point. We haven't had soil samples done. We've reached out to the DNR about a seawall, but that's obviously a much longer permit process and all that stuff. But these are the beginning stages of it. But to some of the points that I heard as I came in late, I apologize, but the very fact that everyone is here today to contest this is kind of a testament to what this planning board and the vision that they had originally to allow that to be dredged and to allow some more families on that channel. So for me personally, I would just like the foresight to continue and to see the fact that there are other families that we would love to be able to enjoy that channel, that would love to be on that lake. We don't know how many lots we can build. We have no idea, but part of the reason that we came to this area was the developmental piece, right? The KEDCO, when we look on the website, it's about the reinvestment. It's about trying to bring some new talent or acquisition of talent and retention. And the biggest thing that we found so far is the housing situation. Any company we talk to, the builders, the agents, obviously builders and real estate agents want you to build more. But even the companies that are doing the hiring, the number one problem that they're running into is suitable housing. And I agree, it's beautiful. I do not disagree with that whatsoever. It's amazing. That's why I wouldn't walk the land. But at some point, we have to figure out, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but we have to figure out how to try to monetize that land at some point. We can't just take a huge loss on the land and let it sit and keep it a sanctuary. It just won't work. But with, an acre and a half of flat tillable ground, it's not farm ground, right? And at this point, being ag, if we can't build homes, then what do we do? Do we digress to what we can build as a current situation, meaning is chicken coops available? Are there churches available to be built? What is available to be built? But I don't know that hurts the value. And I know the numbers don't make sense as far as the tax revenue that comes from the housing. We know that there's more expense that goes with that. So we're not going to sit up here and tell you guys that. That's not the key. But I guess we're willing to work with whoever and try to make it a better area. We're not trying to come in and steal land or ruin the wildlife, any of that stuff. And for us, we would just like the folks of the community to trust the elected officials to do the right thing, and hopefully we can make a better community. So.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else you'd like to speak to?
Good morning.
Morning. My name's Scott Marker. I'm also one of the partners in the group here. And I think, you have very good points with that. Because we might be getting a little ahead of ourselves with, okay, how many houses are going to go on a piece of property? Who's going to walk through whose yard to get to the lake? But I mean, there's ways to figure that out, and we want to try to work, with the county, with the neighbors, with DNR to make everything work the best we can for that piece of property for everyone. There's not a whole lot else that I can say that these guys haven't already said, but I just figured I'd want to stay that piece. We're not asking for anything that's not conforming outside of regular residential. Just trying to figure out how that's going to all fit together. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Okay, we're going to close the meeting to the public. Gentlemen, discussion, thoughts?
I don't have anything.
I know you've seen this at
Yeah.
Area Plan.
Technical review and area plan has looked at it and made the decision that the highest and best use is to allow it to be rezoned. So that's what I'm.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
I'd second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Appreciate everybody coming in this morning. I mean, your input is important, so thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is there any other further business come before the commissioners this morning? Hearing none, we'll be back here on Monday, November the 7th. Wow.
Talk to them a little bit about next steps so they understand, have more of a comfort level of what's going to happen.
Some are happy.
The recording has stopped.